Welcome to another episode in our Securing Tomorrow podcast series with IBM Consulting. This time we're going to be discussing how executives in Ireland who are leading critical digital transformations both in large enterprises and public sector can navigate a world increasingly defined by AI and complexity. Today we're joined by 5 industry leaders from IBM Consulting Ireland and Palo Alto Networks Ireland, all on hand to provide strategic insights that align with Ireland's goal of securing digital transformations. So our first question today is, in a world of AI with the rapid rollout of AI tools that expose organizations to an entirely new and complex wave of threats that traditional cybersecurity tools were not designed to address, how do we build genuine, verifiable confidence in these AI systems? So perhaps, Adrian, we could start with the market context.
Thanks, Dan. I think for me it's about board-level accountability. So we're rapidly moving from a situation with AI where we had AI as a productivity tool, answered questions, to a situation where AI is becoming autonomous and carrying out tasks like agentic AI. So, and in a situation where you've got an existential threat to a business because AI can now, or these agents that can carry out financial transactions, for example, or change critical infrastructure, you need robust controls in place. That can't just be on IT. You need the highest level of leadership to drive that agenda. And so we would recommend that this needs to be AI and agentic AI strategy needs to be an enterprise-wide strategy. So that takes, and it means we have to build in robust controls right from the inception of whatever program is built in, because ultimately if you want to give confidence to investors or customers or regulators, you have to show that these controls are in place with full transparency and full accountability.
Right, so if organizations are looking to get the benefits of AI, they need to start with these robust controls. Paul, what's the IBM Consulting viewpoint on this?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think instilling confidence is less about the technology and more about governance. Has the organization adopted a security mindset in terms of implementing robust governance? So do we know how and where our data is being used, who's accessing it and why? Are we confident in the output? Are we monitoring for threats and risks? And organizations that do that will be able to embed AI in their digital transformation and continue on that journey with confidence.
Thanks, Paul. So Martin, how does Palo Alto Networks provide the underpinning technology to support some of this governance?
Well, it's to ensure that the governance is adhered to. So we have sort of a platform approach to this. Fundamentally, what we're talking about here is an interlinked set of ecosystems and applications. So it's a complex environment. So what you need one tool that gives you visibility end to end of how it's all connected, where the data flows are, what the applications are doing, and also then the security controls that you've built from your governance and applied into your tooling. And that's key to build that confidence. Because really what you want to say is demonstrate that we have control of our agentic workforce, our AI-based applications into the market, into the investors, as Adrian said.
Thanks, Martin. And Elaine, how does IBM Consulting help deliver some of this confidence?
We work with a lot of clients to really take advantage of the new era of AI. And a lot of our clients are really starting to exploit that. I think, though, what we need to realize is that fundamentally, the way that we test that is quite different, because AI systems can be quite opaque, and particularly with the era of agentic AI. So what we need to do is think about testing that in a different way. Think about, AI red teaming and understanding where the threats are, data poisoning, and use a different type of threat modeling to actually understand that, predict it, and build security in throughout the use of that AI system.
Perfect, thanks, Elaine. So Ross, we've heard a lot of conceptually about the need for governance and platform technologies and new ways of testing and supporting this. Can you give us a market view?
Well, sure. From our perspective, I guess we practice what we preach. So we build a lot of kind of products in-house that are built with AI frameworks that we've developed ourselves based on industry best practices and security best principles like secure by design, privacy by design, and zero trust principles as well. So kind of infusing that into all of our products and all of our kind of agentic AI accelerators is what we class them as, in terms of they supercharge effectively our services. So Atom would be a good example of one of our agentic AI solutions that empowers SOC analysts and builds a high level of automation into their response capabilities. So that from the top down, coming back to Paul's point, leverages the governance model, leverages the security and AI security by design and risk management framework, and pushes all of that into a technology that's market ready. So again, in the market ourselves, we deliver based on that framework as well through our clients, and using Palo Alto Networks technology. When I say we practice what we preach, we break in-house, we build in-house, and then we bring that to the market as well through services and product. So that's essentially how we build trust, I suppose, to enable our clients to use our products and services.
Thanks, Ross. So IBM sees the need to use AI to improve productivity. You've developed your own tools to do this. You've seen measurable success, and you're now bringing that to market with your partnership with Palo Alto Networks in Ireland.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've discussed how organizations can build confidence in the AI systems they're using themselves, typically as productivity tools. But of course, threat actors are also harnessing AI to attack organizations. So the next question is, how must organizations structure their defense strategy to prepare for and defeat these autonomous AI-powered threats? So once again, Adrian, could you give us the scene set, please?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, there's no doubt AI is an absolute game changer for both attackers and defenders. So, if you look at the attackers first, it's fundamentally changed the speed and ease at which bad things can happen. That, for example, polymorphic malware is a great example, where defenders using traditional methods might have a signature, might identify it, apply a signature. That's changed immediately, and all of a sudden your protection is out of date. And there's no way humans can keep up with the pace of that level of automation and AI. And there is no question attackers are innovating at the speed of machines now. It's changed the entire game. So what organizations need to do is defend at machine speed as well. So using high levels of AI-driven automation in their defenses to level the playing field, at least, try and get ahead as much as possible, and bring that power back into the defender's hands and give them control of an organization's safety and security.
So organizations must make sure that they're not using yesterday's tools to fight today's problems there, Adrian.
It doesn't work.
No. Paul, what does IBM Consulting see?
Well, my fellow panelists are the security experts here, but what I can say is, I speak to executives in Ireland, and they're filled with anxiety about the potential for breach and the cost of that breach. So an IBM recent report on the cost of data breach in the UK, but it equally applies to Ireland, showed that the average cost was almost €4 million, and there's several high-profile cases of it being multiple times that.
Fantastic. So this is a big problem. We need to come up with an answer.
Massive problem right up in the boardroom level.
Thanks, Paul. Martin, what could you add?
Yeah, I mean, from a response perspective and a threat perspective, so, you can't really scale with people to defend against, machine learning or automated machine-based attacks. Regardless of your investment, you're going to need to use machine learning and automation in response to that. It's the only way to get to the detection times and the response times that you need. So we're consistently seeing with our XION platform, using that technology, we're getting people to a place they could never get to with people in headcount, to detection times of seconds, response times of minutes. And we get people to that. And that's where really we're a partner like IBM come in to deliver the services and the operation of that as well, where they get you to those time to detect and respond faster. Because they bring the knowledge, they bring the service, they bring the repeatability of deployments that they put in the ground for other customers.
Thanks so much, Martin. Elaine, what would you like to add?
So I go back to Paul's point about the fact that so many of our clients are worried about this from an executive level, from a board level. And the thing is that they have a very important part to play in that too. Time is of the essence. When, not if, when you are hit by a cyber breach. And essentially what you need to do is practice that in advance. So one of the things that IBM does with Palo Alto Networks is we work on what we call cyber ranges. And that essentially gives the board level, the senior leadership level of an organization, the time to actually look at how they would respond, who would deal with communications to the external world about what's happening, who would they pay the ransom, what are they going to do? And it's really important that you build that muscle memory in advance so that when an attack starts, you know what to do.
So in an attack, your most important resource is time. So time to think, to plan, to respond, both before, during and after attack.
Absolutely.
Okay, so practicing makes perfect there. So Ross, any concluding remarks?
Sure. I think just to continue on from your point, the before, during and after piece is where the human element really comes in, utilizing Palo Alto Networks bleeding edge technology like XIAM and XDR to bring actionable intelligence to the security team, particularly SOC operations, right down to the response team. We work hard to build context in from the start, understand the risks to the organization and customize the technology so that it can bring really quantifiable results and measurable results of improvement to the security team, freeing up the security team to do more meaningful, I suppose, work, particularly where we come in with regard to AI, securing AI from the start, and then infusing AI into your security control environment. So it's kind of both sides of the coin we're able to deliver, and again, building assurance into the security team from the start.
Thanks, Ross. So with the scale, speed, sophistication of attacks increasing, you're going to need to use AI to fight AI. This is a boardroom imperative. You need to improve your mean time to respond and mean time to detect. And you need, when practice makes perfect, make sure you've got the right processes in place to buy yourself that time. IT leaders often cite complexity as the biggest impediment to their operations, costing up to 6% of annual revenue, according to one IBM research paper. Well, when breach is going to occur in minutes, how does the IBM Palo Alto Networks partnership address the fragmentation that is currently slowing down detection and response across the enterprise? Aidan, we can start with you.
The key here is speed. Speed to detect, speed to respond. And the biggest impediment to speed is complexity. We see this with our clients and customers all the time. They're struggling with dozens of tools, literally. That's not an exaggeration. I mean, one customer we spoke with recently had 83 different security tools from 29 different vendors. Now, that's impossible to manage by any standards, extremely costly as well. And it lacks any level of integration and automation. And where we need to get to is a state where the machines are well interconnected and making the decisions, right? So the task for a SOC analyst, for a security operations center analyst, to manage that volume of tools is impossible. And I mean, there's recent reports that over half of all these alerts, and that can be hundreds or thousands depending on the organization, daily are not getting reviewed. It leaves massive blind spots and dangerous silos. So we believe platformization is the solution. Platformization with a solution like XIAM, for example, with high levels of AI-driven automation. I know we've spoken about this before, but managed by trusted partners like IBM as well, is the only way to solve this problem. It essentially what it does is it gives us the speed advantage back. So we take control of security.
So reducing complexity, increasing speed to detect and respond. Paul, what are your customers telling you?
Yeah, well, I suppose traditionally the boardroom saw security as a cost, to the organisation that sat probably in the basement somewhere. And as Adrian said, this resulted in a plethora of different security solutions. And in the current world of digital transformation and the digital era, that's not going to cut it anymore. Organizations need, modern platform. We've spoken about AI infused that allows them respond at speed and adapt at speed. And ultimately, it's about aligning cybersecurity with digital transformation initiatives.
Excellent, thanks, Paul. Elaine?
One of the examples from one of our clients is their SOC analysts are looking at 8 different screens in order to figure out if there is a breach or not. 8 different screens. That's just impossible. They're knitting it together in their heads. It's a manual process. It's siloed. It's not integrated. What that is doing is it's impacting the potential cost of a breach. It's really slowing them down to respond. That is not viable in the current situation. In today's day, with the AI-powered attacks, we need the likes of Palo Alto Networks XIM platform in order to bring those feeds together, to integrate them, and to allow the organization to respond very quickly.
So trying to remove these swivel chairs and all these multiple screens.
Absolutely.
Martin?
Yeah, so just picking up on what Elaine said, I suppose that swivel chair operation model, it does retain your people resource at the heart of the decision making. And we've talked about the need for machine level or speed response because we have machine speed threat. AI adversaries using AI and different things to attack. So we need to remove that from that perspective. But even if we were to take the existing systems in that model, we'd have to integrate them. And that introduces friction and even equality from a data perspective, what data is flowing from one system to the other. That's where XIM actually smooths out, that platformization place, smooths out all that friction. It is pre-integrated. We have one data source. We take in data from everywhere, we put it in one data lake, and that's where we get the quality of the machine learning algorithms that we develop to correlate all the alerts into incidents and automate the response. It also, from a people perspective, because we talked a lot about sort of machine type response, but the people are really important at the heart of this. These are your experts. These are people who are passionate about your organization staying secure. And this actually makes their job viable. And Adrian said, that there's over 50% of alerts go uninvestigated. Like, no one wants to be in a job. You're set up for failure in that scenario as a professional working for an organization, as an analyst. This actually, our experience of this in customers is that this actually gives people the breathing space to actually dig deeper into how to secure the organization and not be under a snow of alerts day in, day out. Makes their job viable, makes them better professionals.
Well, absolutely. We've heard about the cyber talent shortage and how people are getting burnt out very, very fast.
So. Yeah, so it really helps address that, yeah.
Ross?
Yeah, I think just to add, I think we've touched on it really around the return on investment. In security, it's quite rare traditionally to get a return on investment from implementing a security control. To Paul's point, security is generally a cost. It's a cost center to the business. Being able to implement a unified platform, removing a lot of legacy, outdated security technology, allows the organization to just stay fresh consistently. So with a platform like Palo Alto Networks Cortex XIM, you're staying up to date. The unified platform is evolving with the threat landscape and the technological advances that are happening at breakneck speed at the moment to counter those threats. So you're plugged into something that's live and evolving and at the bleeding edge of technology consistently. So it's a different paradigm from the point solutions that go out of date, up for renewal every 3 years. You have decisions in the market to make. You can have one platform that does it all effectively and is evolving to meet the threat landscape and the evolving, I suppose, technological advances. So it's as I said, it's a paradigm shift from what we're used to seeing, and it's what's necessary with the dawn of quantum, what that will bring in AI-infused threat actors and threat activity. So, it's all going in the right direction. IBM are excellent at implementing and configuring XIM, and we have the most mature managed security services organization probably in the world, I believe. So with that maturity and that discipline and Palo Alto Networks XIM technology and the plethora of technologies, we're able to bring the best to the market, really. So
we're using precision AI to fight AI, we're using platformization to reduce complexity and to treat cybersecurity as a business enabler, with IBM Consulting doing a secure wrap around this.
Future-proofed.
Future-proofed, thank you.
I might just add a couple of local examples. different scenarios around security operations transformation with XIM. There's one was a greenfield site, no SOC, and building a SOC, everybody knows from scratch, is a daunting prospect, right? Where do you start? What tools do I need? How many people do I need to hire? Can I retain them when I hire them? And so on. So, and one of the aspects there is you go the traditional route, and now I need to train all of these analysts, find them and train them on 7, 8, 9 different tools. This particular customer decided XIM was the right way to go because it was one tool, one interface to a latence point, one screen, and the automation integrations take care of everything else. There was a second customer who had quite a mature SOC actually in place for many years, and they were able to collapse 8 different tools into one platform. It gave them mean time to detect in seconds, respond in minutes, best in class. But moreover, they were able to reduce their total cost of ownership on security operations by about 40%. So tremendous outcomes right across the organization.
So quantifiable benefits.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adrian. When we think about resilience, it is often defined narrowly by compliance frameworks like NIST or the NCSC's guidance. But of course, for technology leaders in large organizations, particularly those providing critical services, it is much, much more than this. So our next question is, if we think out to 2030, what will true cyber resilience look like? Adrian.
We'll be in flying cars for a start. I think I think compliance is the foundation there, and resilience is the journey. Okay, so, and the day of that annual compliance check, and everything is fine now for the rest of the year, and we'll come back to it in a year's time. That's finished, and so we need to move towards continuous automated compliance checks for an organization across, and that's to bring visibility and control and accountability, for that matter, across the entire digital estate. We also need to almost build muscle memory into an organization. For example, leadership in organizations benefit greatly from IBM Cyber Range to understand their role in, should an event happen, for example. What are the type of strategic and financial and communication decisions that need to be made when these things happen? And that will greatly help the overall organization when you've got leadership bought into compliance to that level. So I think it's that shift towards continuous automated compliance checks that are ongoing, supported by leadership across the organization.
Thank you. So resilience is greater than just compliance. Paul, what are your customers telling you?
Well, cybersecurity resilience has absolutely bubbled up the agenda. As Elaine said earlier, executives are thinking about when they get attacked, not if. And very much on the agenda is, how do I defend the organisation from an attack? If we are attacked, how quickly can we recover? And most importantly, during that attack event, how does the business continue?
Right. So cybersecurity being much, much more than just protection, it's now resilience and recovery all the way.
Absolutely.
Martin.
Yeah, so I think if we're looking out to that 2030 horizon, we'll probably see to that point of we talked about sort of automation and various things like that, but we may see, the AI start to leverage self-healing, improving the cyber resilience, but outcomes and delivery by detecting, responding, predicting issues that are going to occur, because it has to be brought together beyond. I think what we will see as well is a coming together of not just cyber, but business continuity, IT resilience, operational technology, physical sort of resilience and support. That all has to be looked at holistically. And then you need a system. We're developing systems that will give you views of all of that. And then we see that self-healing piece as well, because it is going to ask different questions, and we need to ask these questions now. So for example, with resilience, we want our users to be able to access our systems, or our customers to be able to access our systems. Very soon that will be agents or AI agentic agents accessing our systems, either as internal users or as customers. So we need to look at that. We need to look at the resilience across the public clouds or the platforms that they run on, and make sure that we understand all those pieces and have resilience across them.
So in the future, we're seeing sort of self-healing systems to help fundamentally improve an organization's resilience. And obviously, we at Palo Alto Networks on that journey. We just announced we're going to acquire Quantisphere to help in that space.
Yeah, so I mean, that's part of really, as well as that, understanding the availability of those critical applications. Also the supply chain. So, applications are more complex than ever with AI edges and APIs and microservices. So we need to understand all the elements that deliver that business function. And then the resilience and the dependencies, that there's not single points of failure or single points of exposure in that. Also, the performance of that can't be degraded. Something can be taken down. It can also be performing to the point that it's unusable. And that's where I think the Quantisphere are going to give us that visibility into the application landscape.
Thanks, Martin. So Ross, looking out to the future, what do you see?
Well, what we're seeing definitely is a trend moving away from compliance-led security, whereby we do obviously have these emerging directives from the NISD 2.0 and then 3.0 into the future, as well as DORA, which is again a significant directive that's a piece of legislation directive that's come to the market now into the financial services ecosystem, not just for the organizations themselves. So very much the compliance mandate is still there. It's becoming more burdensome on organizations to meet it. But it's still really important to understand that is the baseline. That's the expectation. That isn't your North Star. So it's actually the kind of the bottom rung of the ladder is the expectation of these directives. The North Star is where you go with it. And really it's about meeting the complex threat landscape into the today and into the future as well. So being able to kind of move and maneuver and be flexible enough to meet what's coming, in addition to, doing what's necessary to meet your compliance requirements. And again, it's not just these larger ones. There's specific ones for the payment card industry, PSD2 and PCI DSS. These ones haven't gone away either. So it's a lot of effort for organizations to invest in meeting their compliance obligations, making it easier through the use of technologies like Palo Alto Networks XIM platform to be able to get real-time visibility and so on, and to be guaranteed that in the future is important, but also to be looking at the horizon for things like quantum computing, the impact of that, and that's going to have. Obviously, Quantum Safe is a very kind of cutting edge initiative that IBM and Palo Alto Networks are working on together as well, in terms of a go-to-market campaign for making your organization quantum safe. So really from a cryptographic controls perspective. So that's one we're very excited about as well. And we've seen some good response in the market around it. So it's really around keeping compliance as a kind of your baseline, and heading towards your North Star, and really embracing some of the kind of the threat landscape and technological advances that are coming towards us as well. So
I think it's 2029 that IBM's expecting to be able to crack standard encryption with quantum computing. Is that right?
And the date changes every few months, really. So, but I think it's kind of once you move on behind that, but beyond the hype. So we saw kind of similar trajectory with cloud. We've seen it a little bit accelerated with AI, but again, we expect the same with quantum. But it doesn't mean that it's so far away you shouldn't be worried about it. Every organization, not just financial services, not just health, not just every organization should be considering the impact and implications of what quantum computing will bring, and particularly starting with the cryptographic controls for data at rest, data in transit, and data in process. It's just down to the basic elements, but thinking about the worst possible case and preparing for that as early as possible.
Thanks, Ross. Elaine.
So 2030 seems like a long way away in lots of ways, but if you look at the change from 2024 to 2025, reports have shown that there's a 50% increase in cyber attacks. Just see how that would take us to 2030, and you see why it's really important. That as organizations think about their business strategy, what they want to achieve with their business between now and 2030, and then they look at their IT strategy that supports those business commitments, those business needs, those business ambitions. What we need to do is make sure that we really integrate security by design. We take that approach of business security. And we absolutely acknowledge the fact that it's not if, but when, and we build in that resilience throughout those plans. So looking at things like, what is the IT risk what do we need to do? Looking at security and appropriate security according to the risk that it involves, the impact that it would have on an organization. And that involves approaches like understanding the minimum viable operation. In other words, what IT resources do you actually need to keep your business running? And doubling down on the security by design on those organizations and those IT assets.
Thank you. I saw some interesting thought leadership where it suggests that organizations really need a chief risk officer to kind of manage all this. And I would point out that 2029 is when IBM Consulting's computers will have the capability to break standard encryption. Not that you're about to set yourselves up as industrial hackers. So the need for cloud transformation and innovation is relentless. But of course, so are the risks, particularly in critical sectors like energy or public services, where national security is a priority. So how does the strategic partnership between IBM Consulting and Palo Alto Networks ensure clients realize the benefits of the cloud without exposing themselves to unacceptable risk, especially third-party dependencies? Adrian.
Thanks. Yes, so innovation and cloud go hand in hand. So that's a self-evident. And we see cloud adoption growing exponentially, innovation along with it. But innovation brings risk, more assets, more applications, more larger attack surface. But security doesn't tend to increase in investment at the same pace of this innovation and cloud adoption. So that's an area that needs to be looked at and addressed. In fact, I mean, we saw a recent study that said about 72% of all data breaches originate in the cloud. So the numbers stand up for themselves. And secondary to that, I mean, if we're going to talk about public services, critical national infrastructure, we have to look at IT, because for a long time, IT, OT, cloud have all been siloed. IT and cloud not as much, but certainly OT has been. And that introduces significant risk. I mean, you know, if we're looking at our public services, if you're looking at water, if you're looking at all of these services, we need to treat these things very seriously to ensure the lights stay on and, you know, we get all the services that we're accustomed to. And so it is vitally important, you know, working with our partners IBM and using technologies, our technologies, that we're able to introduce a kind of a consistent standard strategy and policy across all aspects, cloud, IT and OT, to be able to deliver and protect these services.
Thank you. Ross?
Yeah, just to pick up on Adrian's point, I think consistency is really, really key. I think when an organization establishes a policy for security, a baseline, they want to make sure they can monitor that consistently across all of their disparate environments, IT, IoT and cloud. And cloud, both single cloud environments, multi-cloud environments, the same consistent approach, irrespective of what cloud service provider you're using and what service in general you're using in the cloud. So I think that's what the Palo Alto Networks XIAM platform is so impressive at. It gives that complete visibility across all of your technology environment. We talked a lot in the past about IT, shadow IT, as being a risk, not understanding where your IT assets are. It's now technology, shadow technology across all of these disparate environments. And again, the Palo Alto Networks technology allows you to see everything in a unified platform. And when you've the visibility over everything, you can see where risks are starting to emanate from, and you can stop them right at the source before they propagate across your network or through these environments into each other. So yeah, very unique proposition between our services. We have the expertise at going in, understanding these environments, understanding what's required from the business from a policy perspective, mapping that into the technology, and then monitoring it for 24/7 for our customers. So it gives that end-to-end visibility. And our teams are able to respond with our X-Force incident response team as well on hand, and the Unit 42 from Palo Alto Networks as well. We have a good partnership there as well to give really the best in class from end-to-end security. So when it comes to cloud, OT, IT, IoT, we have essentially the best unified platform and service offering to complement it in the market today.
Thank you, Ross. So we've touched on the fact that, of course, cloud environments are quite heterogeneous. It brings flexibility, but also additional complexity. What would we add, Martin?
Yeah, so I think when people are looking to cloud, it's a slightly different construct than their traditional IT. So they need to understand the difference in that. And fundamentally, you need to get a handle on that. That's where really IBM as a consulting partner is really valuable. You know, people want to innovate at speed and pace. You need to get it right. You need to get the fundamentals right, the cloud landing zone, the governance around that. And that's where you can bring sort of a consulting engagement where best practice, you can bring it and deploy it quickly. So IBM can give you the framework, they can give you the deployment, give you the services around that to achieve it. And that's really important because one of the worst things we see with innovation is you get a minimum viable product up, you get it there, you get it in the hands of people, they love it, and then the security is not correct. It's hamstrung by that where it's brought back. You lose momentum, you lose faith, you lose the momentum of innovation within your company. So having that right is really important. I mean, we're even seeing people where they have used cloud, but they're ready to scale on cloud, effectively standing up new tenants, tenant to tenant migration for the same company, because they need to now, they understand we need to do it right from the start. And that's where having that consulting piece allows you that assurance around that you're doing the right thing in line with best practice. Then we have our tooling across that then that allows you to secure that, to monitor it on a constant and continuous basis so that we understand what's happening in all those cloud environments. I mean, an example of that is, a lot of people when they're going to cloud, it's about, refactoring applications and making them more agile, moving to microservices, mobile apps, all those sort of things, refactoring that sort of thing. Now integrating AI, we've talked a lot about AI, but it's a key part to it. That DevSecOps piece, getting that right at the start, getting that in place and getting it consistent, because that environment today, as IBM would know from some consulting with customers, is a myriad of different tools, open source and commercial tools that people are working with, different development teams, no consistency. That's where we can give a comprehensive platform to allow you to adopt the governance and best practice that will be outlined by IBM as the best way to do this, and the way we're seeing people trying to get there, even starting again to get there.
Perfect, thank you. So we've heard that with the right approaches, treating cloud as something different from your standard ways of operating an IT environment, you can put in place the right governance and technology to allow customers to take the best of the cloud without some of those risks. Yep. And ultimately be on cloud 9.
I'll leave that cheesy one to you, Dan, yeah?
So thank you to our panel of experts for sharing your valuable insights today. The consensus is clear. To reduce cyber defense complexity and effectively combat accelerating AI-powered threats, the solution lies in platformisation. So fighting AI with precision AI and integrating secure by design principles early in transformational projects. IBM Consulting and Palo Alto Networks are committed partners, and we're bringing the ideal blend of expertise and technology to secure Irish businesses. Now, of course, if you enjoyed this episode, please note it is part of a larger series, and you can find Securing Tomorrow on your favourite podcast provider or by visiting the Palo Alto Networks YouTube channel. Thank you for your time.